Hi, I'm Alan Ross. I'm the managing editor of APC Media's publications, Transformer Technology, Power Systems Technology, and Women in Power Systems. We're here at the IEEE PEST&D conference in Anaheim in 2024, the 60th anniversary. These interviews are with thought leaders to be able to bring the best of the marketplace to you. My next guest is Javiera McGuiggan. She is one of my favorite great guests. Thank you so much for joining me here at IEEE, the 60th anniversary of IEEE PEST&D.
It's always fun to be with you, Alan. Thanks again for inviting us.
We have a lot to talk about. The first thing I want to talk about is, how have you been?
I've been great. Esters are, I feel the ester train has taken off, and that's just a wonderful feeling, knowing that you were preaching about natural esters and vegetable oils, and finally the industry is catching up to, okay, we have to look into this. So the growth has been incredibly amazing.
So how do you, there's two parts about that. Your importance in the business as a businesswoman, but you're making a difference in the world. Put the two of those together.
It's the most wonderful combination to have a job where you really feel that on a day-to-day basis, beyond doing your job, you are really contributing. Even if my team changes one transformer, we always say we're making the world better one transformer at a time. So we celebrate every win. It's like a genuine contribution. And then on top of that, being a woman in an industry that's so male-dominated.
No.
A little bit. I feel it has this movement of more women wanting to get involved and having a voice, and that's been wonderful.
By the way, an issue of Women in Power Systems, one of our brands. You're in here. I saw you in here somewhere, and you were actually
we're big fans of Women in Power Systems.
And you were in the very first issue, a complete spread where you had all the women of Cargill in that. That was really neat. So thank you for supporting that.
And that group of women at Cargill keeps growing. I just had a presentation where, coincidentally, most were women, and we felt like we're making a little dent in the difference.
And I want you to know that I am in touch with my feminine side, so I could fit in very nicely.
Well, it's like every let's say, minority needs these allies like you, the supporters that you're not necessarily in the group, but you see the value of the contribution of a diverse group of people, so it's super important to have people like you.
It's interesting you say that. I know we're getting off topic here, but that's why we take these interviews so long, because they're fun. There's sometimes that men are felt like they don't have a part in that, as opposed to, you have a part in sponsoring that. I think there's only two things you are in life. You're a builder or a blocker. Because if you're not building, you're blocking, right? Exactly. And I think men have to know that they play a crucial role to sponsoring women in education, women in jobs, women in executive leadership, and most importantly, working for women. You need to expect to work for women. The best bosses I've ever had are women.
And it's not a zero-sum game where if someone wins, someone has to lose. Everyone wins if there's different perspectives. Everyone does.
Okay, so we've talked about women. Let's move to another subject. You just kind of mentioned about FR3 and basically esters have now come of age. You know how I knew they came of age? I was interviewing the CEO of a company, SD Myers. They do transformer oil testing. One of the things that he was so excited to talk to me about at this show, which we're doing tomorrow, was we now can test FR3. We now have tests that we can do. And I thought, well, haven't you always had that? He said, no, we have this whole thing because it's the fastest growing fluid test that they do, which is kind of the tail end of it. It has to be in a transformer to be able to pull out of a transformer to be tested. But they've been growing. It was about 0.5% a year, then it became 1% a year. Now it's 2% a year. And so it's now right under 20% of every transformer they test is FR3.
And we have globally doubled the size of our volume of our business in less than 3 years.
Wow.
It's going amazing.
Okay, so we've talked about this before, but we got to ask, in case somebody out there is just ignorant, why? Why is FR3 growing like that?
It's got so many attributes that just make a transformer perform better. So you get a better performing piece of equipment. Like you would think like a chip in a computer. It just makes it smarter, faster, right, in terms of a computing. In a transformer, it makes it live longer, it makes it have more capacity, it makes it more resilient and robust in terms of a solution. So just your equipment will be a better piece of equipment overall. And then on top of that, you have, of course, the betterness of the community. You have a unit that won't explode if anything goes wrong. You have a unit that if it fails, it won't contaminate your soil, it won't contaminate anything. The production of it is much less harsh for the environment. It's just basically farming, which of course does have its own processing, but it's a renewable resource that just doesn't go away. We can recycle and reuse. So it's an overall like very round, great proposition.
So all esters are alike, right?
Good thing you asked. We just started.
Come on, let's tell them that you set me up for that one, right? Yeah.
We just started a campaign that is literally called "Not All Esters Are the Same," because we want to help educate people of what are the differences between natural esters and synthetic esters. Synthetic are a very different group of products. They just happen to have the same last name, I say, but it's like very, very different sisters, if you want to call it that. One is pure, coming from vegetable oils, and the other one's synthetic, so it comes from still fossil fuel, petroleum derivatives.
Right.
So they're both esters in the family of chemistry, but they're very different. And then on top of that, now that the ester train has taken off, there's a lot of more people joining the game, which we love, by the way. We love the fact that more people want to be having this as an offer for customers, but we want to clarify to people what makes us different. The experience, our technical knowledge. We, as Cargill, being an agricultural company, we have the ownership of all of our supply chain. We say from our plants to your plants.
Oh, I like that.
So
say that again.
From our plants to your plants.
Is that part of your motto written somewhere?
It is.
It should. Okay.
I have a background in marketing.
All right, good. Well done.
So anyway, we want people to understand not that there's good guys or bad guys, but that there are differences. And that's why we say they're just not all the same. Don't treat them as the same. Learn as much as you can about the differences, and that's what this campaign is about, all about education.
So when you say plants, what are the different plants that are used in making FR3?
When you speak of only FR3, purely that brand, it's always soybean oil, which is the most available in the world and the best kind of mixture of properties of performance and cost. Then we also just launched FR3R, which is the second little R, is for rapeseed, because that is very, very much in demand in Europe.
It's very common. Plant, right?
It's much more there. Or there's some countries in Asia like Japan, Korea, they have rapeseed available. Australia has rapeseed available. So we're branching out to have them with the same great properties of FR3, but then that can be with rapeseed. And you could effectively make it with other oils, but then you start sacrificing some of the properties like pour point or oxidation, etc.
A big thing today for companies is to tell other people about their carbon footprint, right? The carbon footprint of airlines, for instance, is pretty bad. The carbon footprint of refineries is pretty bad. Talk about the differences in carbon footprint, how you all look at it.
Right. We just started releasing our number, which every company is responsible of their own number and how they calculate it and how they estimate it. So for those calculations, you can either go to databases and grab a number for soybean or grab a number for farming, or like in the case of Cargill, because we own the whole supply chain, we can actually do our own calculations and get to the number. So every number that is related to a product is owned by that product. It doesn't equate to everyone in the industry. If you hear the carbon footprint of FR3, it's not the same carbon footprint of every other natural ester out there. Everyone has to show you their own calculations. That's first of all. And then our calculation, you can see two numbers because some industries consider and some don't the fact that this was a plant. So while it is a plant, which is very close to production, it's actually absorbing carbon. So the carbon footprint is effectively negative once you do all the math. You take the plant and the production, and the carbon footprint is negative for a vegetable oil, for FR3 in particular. So that we're starting to share with our customers. Then you of course have the next step that we're going into is calculating the carbon footprint for whole transformer that includes FR3 and that you can optimize so you can make it smaller, use less of the other materials so you can have an even better carbon footprint, or it's a longer life of a transformer, which also adds positive points that say it's a recyclable product, so at the end of its life, you can reuse it for other uses, or you can recycle it and remake FR3. So there's different stories. Everyone has a different calculation, and sadly, spreadsheets allow for everything. So I try to keep people away from focusing on just the number.
Right.
Because you can get two numbers and get very confused. Why are they so close, or why are they so different? Go back to the basics and remember, this literally comes from a plant. Over 95% of it is vegetable oil.
Yeah.
So compare that to the carbon footprint of any petroleum-based thing. It's apples to monkeys, not even bananas.
We should now have this. I'm going to give you another tagline. You can power with it, you can cook with it. No, stay away from that one. You mentioned something right at the beginning that has been, I would say, a little bit of a battle within the industry. Today, it's common knowledge, but in the beginning, it was like, well, no, it doesn't wick moisture away. It doesn't help moisture. It doesn't make a transformer more robust. It's just an alternative. That's not true. It does have a positive impact on how the transformer operates, how long it operates, all of the different functions of a transformer. Talk a little bit more about that, because I don't think there's enough known about that.
Yes, it's still, I would say it's still the newcomer in this industry that's very conservative. We're going to be selling FR3 for over 27, we're saying almost 30 years now, and it's still the new kid in town. Yeah. So at first there was a big push for trying to isolate it into a niche application. Right. And we constantly are proving and publishing cases about larger and larger power transformers that used to be pretty afraid of it at first, and now they're realizing you get all the same benefits that you get in distribution transformers. So I feel the more people are now, like I say, on the ester train and adopting it, the more cases we have to show the world how it's really beneficial for practically every industry.
What's the next challenge for you? For FR3, for you, what's the next challenge? Because you thrive on challenge.
I do.
Right?
Our current challenge, I will tell you, my biggest challenge right now is we are running as fast as we can to keep up with the demand. We're expanding plants everywhere. The plants that we have 7 plants all over the world, and we're expanding all of those and adding more plants to our network, because we have to make sure that if anything like COVID hits again, everyone will have enough supply and we don't stop the production of something so crucial for the energy, for the grid. So that's, I think, my biggest challenge is how fast and accelerated the growth is. And then also like our campaign now, my challenge now is to prove to people why they can trust us, why they should trust this technology, what are the differences of what's out there, so that hopefully they continue to prefer our solution.
Retrofilling has got to become a bigger part of it, because they've got to keep the installed base. One of the things that I'm going to give you another marketing campaign. They can't get transformers. Utilities can't get them. Munis can't get them. Co-ops, industrial, they can't get them fast enough. So they